Martell Holt's life is facing one of its most challenging chapters yet. Following the latest court ruling, his legal and personal troubles have deepened, and this time, the outcome is entirely against him. What has transpired adds another layer of complexity to an already chaotic situation, and its implications are far-reaching. As a prominent personality on Love and Marriage Huntsville, Martell now finds himself navigating a precarious position where his public reputation, his role as a father, and even his future on the show are all at serious risk. Fans, critics, and casual viewers alike are watching closely, debating what this means not only for Martell, but also for the broader narrative of the show itself. The specifics of this case highlight how far Martell has strayed from the successful father and husband persona he once tried to cultivate. On May 2, 2024, Martell was formally convicted in Huntsville Municipal Court on charges of third-degree domestic abuse and harassment of his ex-wife, Melody Sheree. These charges were far from minor disputes between two former partners. They were serious legal determinations that revealed troubling patterns of behavior and brought his public image into sharp focus. For someone who has built a persona around family, fatherhood, and public respect, this conviction marked a turning point, a moment when private actions collided forcefully with public scrutiny. The legal consequences for Martell were significant. He received a 30-day jail sentence, which was suspended on the condition that he complied with probation requirements. In addition, he was ordered to pay $500 in fines, along with additional court costs, and was mandated to participate in programs designed to address domestic violence. However, the most consequential element of the ruling was arguably the no-contact order with Melody. This legally prohibited two parents who share 4 children from communicating directly. The decision underscored the severity of Martell's actions, as the court determined that the level of risk was high enough to necessitate strict restrictions on their interactions. The ramifications of this ruling were immediate and multifaceted. On a personal level, it severely limited Martell's ability to co-parent effectively. On a professional level, it fueled public debate over his behavior, co-parenting capabilities, and overall character. Among fans of Love and Marriage Huntsville, opinions were divided, with some defending Martell, arguing the show exaggerated conflicts for dramatic effect, while others believed that justice had finally caught up with him. Regardless of perspective, one fact was indisputable. Martell Holt now had a domestic abuse conviction on his record, an indelible mark that would influence both his private life and his public persona. Martell's troubled past only compounded the situation. His history of infidelity, arrogance, and confrontations with co-stars had long drawn criticism from viewers. His marriage to Melody had already ended amid scandal, including a cheating incident involving Arian Curry. Fans who had once been sympathetic began questioning whether Martell could ever reform his behavior. Social media debates exploded in response to the conviction. While some viewers felt the show had dramatized Martell's shortcomings, many others saw it as the first instance in which his behavior had real-world consequences, a moment where he was finally held accountable. The verdict did not just affect Martell legally, it reshaped public perception of him as a father, a man, and a public figure. Hoping to challenge the ruling, Martell appealed to Madison County Circuit Court. The intention was clear. He sought either to clear his record entirely or at the very least to receive a reduced sentence. However, the gamble backfired. On August 18, 2025, Martell entered a guilty plea once more. The outcome mirrored his earlier ruling almost exactly: a 30-day suspended jail term contingent on probation compliance, court costs due within 60 days, and an additional 30% collection fee if payment was delayed. The implications of the second guilty plea were profound. Martell's attempts to fight the conviction had failed, and his legal record was now permanently marked. For a man who had cultivated an image of control and influence, the ruling symbolized a loss of authority, a moment in which the legal system and public opinion aligned against him. The timing could not have been worse. Martell's custody battle with Melody was scheduled for October 15, 2025, meaning the conviction could heavily influence proceedings regarding visitation and shared custody. Alabama family courts treat cases involving domestic violence with the utmost seriousness. Even when charges involve harassment rather than physical harm, judges are instructed to prioritize children's safety and welfare. This places Martell at an inherent disadvantage as he approaches his custody hearing. Melody's legal team is now likely to use the conviction as a key argument, emphasizing that he is unfit for unsupervised visitation or equal custody. The legal precedent, combined with her consistent track record of courtroom successes, positions Melody strongly in the eyes of the court. Melody has consistently demonstrated an ability to navigate the legal system effectively. Earlier cases have resulted in favorable rulings for her, including the imposition of $7,000 in legal fees on Martell in June 2024, along with the threat of visitation suspension should he fail to comply with court orders. By October 2024, the court had dismissed most of Martell's counterclaims, reinforcing Melody's credibility and reliability. Her systematic approach starkly contrasts with Martell's erratic and reactionary behavior, further highlighting disparities in character and judgment between the two parents. Martell's repeated missteps have been highly publicized. Outbursts on social media, confrontations with cast members, and general disregard for legal obligations paint the picture of a man struggling to maintain control over both his emotions and responsibilities. Compounding these challenges is the growing financial burden stemming from child support obligations, court fees, fines, and collection penalties. While reality television can generate income, it is often inconsistent, dependent on appearances, filming schedules, and ancillary business ventures. Martell's investments in real estate and other enterprises have been uneven at best, leaving him under increasing pressure to manage both his finances and his public persona. Perhaps the most concerning aspect of Martell's situation is the emotional impact on his children. Co-parenting becomes exceptionally challenging when court orders limit parental communication. Children inevitably witness conflict and tension between their parents, which can affect their understanding of relationships, trust, and family stability. For Martell's children, the knowledge that their father is legally prohibited from direct communication with their mother adds another layer of confusion and stress, one that could have long-term consequences for their emotional well-being. Martell has long attempted to present himself as a father who is steadfast and unwavering in his commitment to his children, but the facts paint a different picture. Repeated legal setbacks, defiance of court orders, refusal to complete required counseling or psychological evaluations, and continual appeals all suggest a man more focused on maintaining control than fostering a safe and stable environment for his kids. By entangling Melody in ongoing court battles, Martell appears to prioritize power over parental cooperation, further complicating co-parenting and public perception. Public scrutiny has been relentless. Observers note the stark contrast between Martell's carefully curated posts of family moments and inspirational quotes, and his disparaging comments or ambiguous captions targeting Melody. His double standards and selective sharing of family information, particularly regarding his son with Arian Curry, have heightened skepticism among fans and followers. With his new guilty plea, Martell's credibility as both a public figure and a father is now seriously compromised. Meanwhile, Melody continues to demonstrate resilience and stability. Her commitment to her career, her businesses, and her children illustrates the qualities of reliability and responsibility that judges, co-stars, and fans recognize. The contrast between Melody's measured approach and Martell's ongoing turmoil could not be clearer. While she progresses steadily, Martell remains mired in a cycle of legal disputes and public scrutiny, struggling to maintain control over his narrative. This is no longer just a story about a contentious divorce or reality television drama. It is a narrative about accountability, personal responsibility, and the consequences of unchecked behavior. Martell has repeatedly failed to adhere to court-mandated actions designed to protect his children and promote stability. Psychological testing, counseling, and other measures remain incomplete, leaving the court and fans alike questioning whether he can fulfill his obligations as a father. Patience, both judicial and public, is running thin. Martell Holt's story now stands at a critical crossroads. Will he finally accept responsibility,
make genuine efforts to rebuild trust and establish a safe environment for his children? Or will he continue down a path of conflict, risking his future, reputation, and role as a father? Only time will reveal the answers. What is clear, however, is that the latest court decisions mark a turning point in his life, one with consequences that will likely resonate for years to come.